for sheep to be sacrificed for a Ramzan feast. This in part explained the smell. In the punishing late summer heat, the room stank like a barnyard or a slaughterhouse, and I didn't smell any better. It had taken my captors 3 days to transport me here, wherever here was. I assumed I had been ferried to Afghanistan, but it could have been Pakistan. It was hot and dirty, buzzing with mosquitoes. Beyond that, I knew nothing. Clearly my location didn't matter. I wasn't leaving any time soon. I was restrained by chains, completely immobilized, similar to a death row criminal. I'd been stripped and dressed in a woman-soiled shalwar kameez, now also covered in caked blood and vomit, which I assumed were my own. My jaw was swollen and throbbing, and I had an open wound over one eye. The chains that bound me were fastened to a metal loop in the floor, the kind you'd use to restrain an animal, for example, a sheep, waiting to be killed. The 3 days I'd spent travelling to this place were lost to me in a fog. After I was snatched from my car on a busy street in an upscale neighbourhood, I'd been blindfolded, beaten, and injected with ketamine, a horse tranquilizer, to keep me unconscious. My captors stuffed me into the back of a car, wedged down on the floor, and kept me out of sight. Whenever I stirred, I was kicked into silence. On the first day they took me, we eventually arrived somewhere. Having been abducted on a Friday morning, dragged into an empty house blindfolded, I woke up on what I assumed was the following day. One of the captors recklessly pulled the pin from a grenade and placed it in the palm of my hand. He moved within an inch of my face and hissed in my ear in Urdu. "Have you ever held one of these before?" Later, he shoved the gun into my mouth and psychotically asked, "Have you seen one before?" I wasn't sure what he wanted me to say. I babbled something about money, about obedience, about how I'd give them what they wanted if they'd release me. "You're a valuable treasure," he shouted. "The whole country is looking for you." He yelled so as to frighten me. It definitely worked. When this man wasn't terrorizing me, he'd reassure me in calming whispers, which was even more unnerving. "Don't worry. You'll be home soon." He explained that he would collect the ransom and release me, and this would all be wrapped up in a day, maybe 2. His mocking laughter was followed by blows to my head and a syringe full of ketamine. Everything about the days right after my kidnapping was obscured in that ketamine haze, a half-remembered barrage of beatings and druggings and bark commands and darkness and barely recollected images. I recall waking up in the back of a car, begging them to stop so I could step outside and urinate. Someone in the car handed me a bottle. They all wore masks. I felt like a ghost travelling to hell. I started pleading with them to let me step outside by the road to relieve myself. "You've beaten me. You've cuffed me. You've kept me on the floor," I yelled. I kept jabbering. I was petrified. "I don't need this," the driver shouted finally. "Put him out." More ketamine. My next lucid moments were at an army checkpost on the outskirts of Lahore. I could barely see. I was in a burqa. My captors had disguised me as a woman and sat me up between 2 of the men in the back seat. As one of the men held a knife to my side, its point perilously close to cutting into me, he whispered, "If I hear a sound, I'll gut you." I was unaware that the whole country was looking for me. My kidnapping had become national news. The ISI, Pakistan's intelligence agency, had found the safe house where I'd been held the day before. They'd found my broken sunglasses and a syringe used to inject me with ketamine, with samples of my blood in it. I tried to get a sense of what was happening through the netting of the burqa's eye holes, but the headpiece had twisted to the side. I was drenched from head to toe in perspiration from the searing heat and the ketamine coursing.